All right, well, the federal government has announced it is withholding some of Canada Soccer's funding after the drone spying scandal that erupted as the games were getting underway in Paris. Ottawa's move comes after FIFA announced penalties for Canada Soccer, which includes a 6-point deduction in the Paris Olympics women's soccer tournament. So joining us now to talk more about this morning are Helen Stonebus, former Soccer Canada player and also the founder of Good Games, and also Claire Rustad, former soccer player for Team Canada as well. I really appreciate both of you being here to talk about this morning, because this really has dominated so many conversations since really before the games began. But Helen, I want to start with you. What do you think this does to Canada and Canada soccer reputation now?
I'll be honest with you. I think the players are trying to prove that it's all about them and it's all about playing on the field. I don't think you have there's no formulaic way to play the game. I think once you get on the field, it's all about the players, and the players are proving that they deserve to be there. They're not cheaters, and it's unfortunate that they've been in this situation that they're in. It has nothing to do with them, and I'm so proud. That game yesterday, probably one of the best games I've seen Canada play.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the most remarkable story when you go from -6 to 0 and still potentially could move out of their round-robin group. Claire, over to you now. Your thoughts on this, in terms of not only reputationally for the team, but how do you think, they can sort of overcome this? Would a win, would getting out of just even that round-robin initially, would that be enough? Or what do you think it's going to take to get beyond this?
They have to win. There's no choice. It's win and you're in. Mm-hmm. Anything less than that, and they won't advance. So what's it going to take to get beyond this? I mean, I think I'm happy that FIFA made a swift decision, and hopefully they can continue to make swift decisions for everything in their jurisdiction in the future. But it felt insurmountable when they came down with the 6-point sanction. I thought sanctions were fair. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to remember that two things can be true. We can be devastated on the part of the players and really disgusted by the actions of the coaches, but we can also be objective about the principles of fair play, and that there have to be consequences to prevent this sort of behavior in the future and prevent further infractions. 6 points was excessive, in my opinion. I think 3 points would have made that point. Mm-hmm. But I think they're in a really good position now. I mean, Colombia's not a team to take lightly, but they are in a good position to advance with a win coming up later this week.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers for that. Helen, let's go back to you on not only the sanctions, but also, this whole thing. It seems a lot of people I've spoken to said, well, it seems like the players are paying the price for something they didn't do and didn't have any control over.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, I guess, when you're part of a team. The team is a team, and that includes your staff. But I agree with Claire. I think the 3 points would have been sufficient. I think 6 points, to me, was a little excessive. But I think we have to dig a little deeper and find out why this has been happening and why this has been happening for as long as it's been happening. But it's unfortunate that this, again, comes back down to affect the players. It's really not the way the game is supposed to be played. I think we're all about fair play, and it's so silly, to be honest with you, to look in on a team that we have so much footage on, and we can watch so many games of them playing. I just don't even understand the rationale behind doing something like that. But I think at the end of the day, these players are now trying to just prove that they're on the field, they're there to play the game. And, it's all about what you put out on the field. You can prepare as much as you want in practice, but it's a chess game on the field, and you're constantly moving. A 4-4-2 becomes a 3-5-1, and, it just changes. It's never static. So whatever you do in practice doesn't really matter. Once you get on the field, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, I couldn't quite understand the sort of advantage based on exactly. There's just so much footage of every team playing, these days, that it sort of blew my mind. Claire, I wonder, have you spoken to any of the, your former players? What is the sort of mood and vibe amongst, former players with this sort of cloud that's been, sort of cast over the team?
Yeah, it's funny because Vanessa Gilles in her post-game interview talked about how they hadn't slept or eaten very much
that
this
was powerful.
Week. Yeah, the former players have felt the same way, just this kind of increasing sense of nausea as the week went on, and almost this sort of this feeling of dread. But I think most of us feel quite relieved and excited, looking forward to the next match.
Yeah, I mean, let's look forward to the next match then, Helen. Claire already mentioned this, Colombia, not a team to take lightly, but how do you feel? It seems like the team is now rallying themselves to sort of overcome what's, happened in the last, week and a half.
Unfortunately, that's kind of been the case with a lot of us former players. It's been a very united team front. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We've had issues with, coaching and Canada Soccer in the past. So I'm not surprised to see this galvanizing the team. And I think that's what it takes. I think sometimes situations like this actually bring your team closer together. And I think what we saw yesterday was a team that literally got together as a group, as family, and fought for themselves. And I think that's what's going to happen against Colombia. They were on fire yesterday. I've never seen that team perform the way they performed yesterday. And I think they're going to be on a high. And I look forward to Colombia. I hope, they go forward and they win that game. And just listening to Vanessa's interview after the game, it's exactly what's happening. They're all galvanizing. They're all coming together and they're all playing for each other. That's what we always did. Claire, you'll probably agree.
Yeah, that clip was remarkable. Listen, I really appreciate Helen, Claire, both of you joining us this morning. Such an important conversation, and really appreciate your perspective as former members of Team Canada's soccer team. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we can talk soon, and hopefully we can talk about Canada winning and moving on. So we'll take care for now. Thank you so much.